Hello there. Welcome back to our Roman Republic. When we left off, we had just fought two back-to-back wars, I think, against the HRE, dominated most of Italy, and Hungary, taking a bite out of them. We also subjugated Austria, who was the HRE emperor and now is our slave, as they should be. I'm thinking we immediately attack into the HRE again. Our manpower hasn't really replenished, but I'm sure it's fine. Another thing is, a lot of the nations we subjugated are now disloyal, which isn't really surprising. Being forcibly vassalized would make anyone unhappy. They're also considering themselves quite powerful now. Not sure if I agree, but I never quite agree with how the AI judges its strength, because they judge it off their own levies, but they don't judge it off mine. But there's another coalition against us. It's not too strong though. Thing is, if we declare war on the HRE now, they're going to bring in Bohemia because the current emperor is Mark. The Markian Union rules the HRE right now, which includes Bohemia. And funnily enough, I don't think anyone that's in the coalition against us is outside the HRE, except for the Teutonic Order, who we can't really attack because we don't have a potential CB on them. So we're likely just going to have to attack into the HRE. It doesn't really matter though. Look at all these little nations we could eat up. So I think we'll just let our diplomats recover. We're supporting loyalists in a few countries. We'll need to stop doing that just to let our diplomats flow in. I also want to build a bunch more navies. Since we've now gotten access to Italy, since I have been just releasing any nations we gain there, or nations that we inherit. But now that we have access to the region, we can think about not doing that and just start spreading our maritime presence and throwing down a local governor potentially. I do eventually want to move my capital to Rome, but we probably won't do it until we've eradicated enough of Catholicism. To be fair though, thinking about it, a lot of Catholic nations now hate us so much they're never gonna not hate us due to our antagonism. So maybe it doesn't matter that much. To be fair though, nations that are outside the HRE don't really mind that much. Like Poland, they don't really care. France cares a bit. Castile cares a bit. Austria cares a bit. England barely cares. Scotland, they don't care. Sweden, they don't care. Romania, they don't care. So I think it might just be better for us to go all the way and just kill the HRE, right? Just kill them and just keep attacking until they're fully gone. We do want to, just destroy the HRE. There's not much reason to let them continue to exist. And there is an achievement for destroying the HRE as Byzantium or Rome. As we can see here, we need to destroy the HRE and control Aachen. Beautiful, wonderful city that it is. Many of our subjects may be disloyal, but the problem's kind of going to solve itself when they die. As in, when their rulers die, we'll just inherit most of them. So their strength doesn't matter to us that much. It would be inconvenient, though, if a independence movement did form and rebel. We'll just have to hope that doesn't happen. Ah, that's unfortunate. I was very close to getting my CB to attack into the coalition, but it looks like they've attacked us first. It does look like they're pretty close to making peace just right at the beginning though. We already start with 41 war score because of all the nations that are inside of us that have joined the coalition. And to be fair, this coalition, does it have anyone of note? It's got Aragon. That might be it for noteworthy countries. I think so. To be fair, because they can summon millions of mercenaries, that does make things a little more awkward. But we'll see if we can't just fight them to a white peace. We'd like the peace deal to not last very long, so that we can attack into them again. We'll need to be a little wary that the nations that we're vassalizing might declare separate pieces. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Hopefully we can avoid it. The nation that's leading the coalition is this little one here. We might be able to just nip in, occupy them, and force a peace deal. We'll see how things go though. Alright, there we go. They're willing to make peace. I don't think there's a reason to really drag out the war, especially since, this is a coalition CB. It costs a lot for us to take land or do anything, sadly. So we'll just wipe peace. The peace shouldn't last long, so we can think about attacking them again in a short while. Even though we've just made peace, we're going to begin fabricating a coalition against somebody. This guy here, he's allied with Milan. We really want to eat Milan. They're a large nation in northern Italy. In fact, they're the largest Italian nation left who isn't under our control. They're definitely someone we'd like to eat. Unfortunately, they are a monarchy, so we can't just paranoia them and expect them to be integrated. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Ah, there goes Venice. They've been inherited. I wasn't paying attention, but I think we got around 10,000 ducats for the death of Venice. Definitely a nice lump sum. Our CB is going to be available in about a month. In fact, right now. So we can declare war immediately. This will of course bring in Mark. I don't think we care about them though. Milan, who we want to bring in. So I guess we'll just declare war. Hopefully this can be a rather quick war, just to subjugate the few northern Italian states. Unfortunately, there are two nations that are outside the alliance, so we can't defeat them. We could wait for the truce to expire. They could potentially join a coalition against us, but I don't really want to wait. We can always just grab those coalitionites at a later date, right? Keep in mind, of course, Bohemia is in this war, so that's something to be aware of. I don't feel like they'll pose much of a problem though. There's something of note, because Mark is the HRE Emperor, they're going to call some people in. That could be really nice if they call in people we actually want to conquer. To be fair though, we do want to conquer everybody, but we'll just have to see, I guess. I'm not sure this is the best use of the Bohemian army, but who am I to judge? Alright, these guys are done. I think we'll turn them into a Pronoia. Their ruler's quite old, no reason not to. Ooh, we just inherited the nation that controlled Rome. That means we're going to start getting smacked for daring to control Rome. I'm sure we'll be fine though. In fact, actually, we have enough religious influence to do a omen. Who should we do this time? We are at war, so I guess it makes sense to do someone like Ares again. I guess let's do Ares again. What do you give us this time? Heavy infantry power, that'd be quite good. Our heavy infantry is already quite strong because we are Romans. I guess we'll go with that one. Let's actually check our heavy infantry power now. It's currently at 33.9% due to that omen, due to restoring the legions, due to the fact that we are a Hellenic nation as well. Yes, now that we control Rome, antagonism is going to slowly, well, quite quickly tick up. So we'll need to be a little careful. Looks like Mark's had enough, we'll send them out of the war then. I don't think we actually fought a battle with Mark, they're gone now though. They didn't take Bohemia with them though, unfortunately, but it shouldn't be too bad. Once Bohemia's had enough, we'll just send them off as well. Actually, think about, we could take some land from Bohemia, but can we? Are they part of Rome? It doesn't actually look like it, except for this few provinces here, these two locations actually. Nothing that Bohemia has is a part of Rome, and therefore can't be taken in this war. That's a little sad, but it is what it is. We could hypothetically still attack Bohemia and force them to release nations. I think we'll likely just white peace them though. Bohemia's had enough, we'll send them off. The coalition against us has reformed though. It's looking about the same. It's got Aragon in this time, and I think it actually has a lot more HRE minors, as you would expect. I think we'll try again to attack into them before they attack us. Just like last time though, it's a little up in the air. Oh, the coalition again attacked us before we attacked them. We were only 4 months away from getting our CB. I guess what I should do is get our CB preemptively before the coalition even thinks about attacking us. I think we're just going to white peace. Well, not white peace. Let's give them... how much money? We would need to give them 8,000 ducats and a humiliation. That's a little too much for me. Egypt has once again joined this coalition and is leading it though. We'll see if we can't force them to a more reasonable peace deal. This may be a little bad though, because our armies are kind of stranded out in the HRE. So if things look a little dicey, I think I will just immediately make peace. On the note of making peace, here's an interesting idea. This nation here is in a regency. If we pronoia them, we should immediately integrate them, because they'll be immediately considered, you know, in a not legitimate situation. So let's peace them. They become a pronoia. If we now wait a month or so for the tick, they should say, oh, well, actually, we don't have a government, and just cease to exist. Yep, as we can see, they've now ceased to exist. Perfect. All right, we just had another crash. Definitely scary. I think that's the third crash we've had. It's likely due to me using this save throughout the 1.2 patches. Still not nice, though. Hopefully the crashes don't become so common that it becomes impossible for me to continue the save. We'll just have to wing it, I guess, and hope for the best. And we just had another crash. That's getting pretty scary now. Let's immediately peace out the Mamluks. It could be the coalition here that's causing the problem. I was going to fight them a little bit, right? But if they're going to crash my game, take 5,000 ducats and just go away. Right, hopefully that solves the issue. It'll be awful if I can't actually fight wars because I continuously get crashes while attempting to. But let's hope for the best. Alright, I think we've made it past the crashing point. We'll just need to keep an eye out. I think fighting those big coalitions for some reason just makes the game prone to crashing. I guess we just kind of need to keep our wars on the down low. We need to make sure we don't have too many enemies or that the wars are too large, which doesn't really sound feasible. Or maybe there's a certain nation that causes the crashes. Of course, I don't know who. Could it be the Mamluks? I mean, I guess it could be, but we fought them so many times, I find it hard to believe it would be them. We'll just need to keep our eyes open, I guess. I'd hate to have to cool the campaign because of the crashing. Right, we've beaten Milan. Unfortunately, we can't annex them or turn them into a Pronoia, so we'll just take a big bite out of them, send them away. This little guy who we declared war on, I guess we'll Pronoia him. He's not too far off. Well, his ruler's quite old, so surely it shouldn't be that long before he dies and we can inherit his country. So that's that done. I'm guessing we should relax a little bit now. I kind of don't like the idea of doing so, but it's a little scary fighting wars if we're just going to get crashes when we do. Maybe we should expand outside of Europe. Maybe Europe is the problem. We could go bully Tunis again, see about expanding our borders up there. Oh, we inherited Naples, and then we immediately got the achievement for having 2 cities, I believe it is, the Tale of 2 Cities. I guess the Nepalese went off and achieved it on their own, and then we got it when we inherited them. How nice of them. Oh, it looks like we've got some locations in the Caribbean. I'm guessing these were... actually, I was going to say they were Neapolitan, but they're actually looks like they're Venetian. How curious. We also have a vassal here. They're not a colonial nation though, they're just a normal, ordinary vassal. I guess we could integrate them back into ourselves, and then potentially release a colonial nation here. In fact, could we release one right now? Yes, we could release a colonial nation here in the Caribbean. I guess we'll do it. We probably don't want to hang on to this land ourselves anyway, right? Alright, let's crush Tunis. They are calling in Morocco. We'll have to see how strong they are. I assume they're just going to call in massive amounts of levies, because that's what, you know, the AI tends to do. But they're also going to call in mercs. The ideal will be, of course, just killing enough of them that the Tunisians capitulate. Ah, we gained another bureaucratic slot from research. Which bureaucracy should we add? I may add court eunuchs here, just so I can get the achievement from having, I think it's 6 court eunuchs. Let me just check. Yes, we need 6. In fact, they have to be cabinet ministers. That's important. So we need to make or acquire 6 eunuchs, then appoint them to our cabinet. I do feel like the court eunuchs isn't that good of a bureaucratic slot though. If you pay for it, it does increase the quality of heirs, but it also gives stability decay, which I really don't like. If I didn't pick that, we could go for these Romanites. The negative for them is only a little decrease in diplomatic reputation, and they passively increase prestige and increase our cultural influence, which means we'll convert things faster, or we'll convert nations faster. These guys, I don't think I'd ever go for them unless I was going to pay for them fully, because they'll just devastate our land by reducing development. The Imperial Senate, we actually threw them out previously because I'd hated the monthly Republican tradition malice. Ritualistic court is fine, I guess. They do speed up integration, so they're quite good with vassals, but we are using Pronoia, obviously. The negative is that they reduce estate satisfaction. The monthly legitimacy is nice, though, as it always is. I think we'll grab court eunuchs for now, though, and we'll see about getting that achievement. Alright, there's Tunis beaten. Unfortunately, I think I might actually have to call it for this campaign. The crashing has become oppressive, to say the least. We crashed like 6 times, I think, during that one war. I'll probably edit it out so you won't have to deal with that, but it was annoying, and it makes playing the game difficult. And I'm not sure if it'll become permanent, you know? When I was fighting that war with the coalition, it definitely was, like I couldn't unpause and let a month pass without it crashing again. If I end up in a similar situation, I don't see a way, unless I'm able to just make peace immediately on the fly. But, you know, that means making peace deals I don't want to take. So I think we're just going to call it here. I really hate to say it, I was kind of looking forward to rolling over the French. Though maybe I wouldn't have rolled over them, maybe they would have rolled over us. It would have been nice to see. How close are we to getting some of these achievements? Of course, we're quite far off getting Mare Nostrum because we've only taken 78% of the locations that we need. That's not too far off though, I suppose. We've got 85 of the Justinian borders though. It's really sad that we're going to have to give that up. Thinking about it, we could get both these achievements without playing as Byzantium. This one requires us to be playing or were playing Byzantium. I think that means we can start as Trebizond, form Byzantium, and get this achievement. That would be excellent. This one requires it to be Rome, so there'd be no problem starting as Trebizond for that one. This one requires us to have been Byzantium, so we could do that one as Trebizond too. We should probably do this one to get 10 legions. That should be trivial though. I'll just create 10 legionaries. I think I did research them. Nut allergy, we could get that one maybe right now by just spamming, creating cabinet ministers. Sad that we're going to have to give up on destroying the HRE though, but we'll save it, I think. On the next patch, 1.3, I'm probably going to do a Trebizond playthrough. We probably won't turn Hellenic or a Republic, but we'll become Byzantium, and then of course become Rome, and we'll redo this conquest, hopefully without the crashing, because surely that patch will be better. It is sad, I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it, but I don't really see a way around it, though I doubt you care about my coping. Before we finish up, let's look at some of the stats. What does the world look like? We can't really see the whole world. If I wasn't in Ironman, I would, of course, reveal everything probably via console, but we are, so we can't see everything. Ming is currently the economic hegemony. That's not that strange, but we're right behind them. We're right behind them. It wouldn't be hard at all for us to take first place. We are, of course, the military hegemony, though the Khmer Empire is catching up to us. I was planning to expand my army probably after this war. I was probably going to make another 50,000 regiment or army, but there's potential that we could be surpassed. We're, of course, the cultural hegemony of the world. The second place, though, is Korea. Those Koreans are pretty powerful in this run. Naval hegemony, we actually lost first place to Majapahe. Also, Ming surpassed us. Oh, and England. Did we lose some heavy ships? I think we may have done. I don't remember just having 50. To be fair, we haven't really been using our navy at all. Since we conquered Venice and Genoa, most of our fighting has just been inland, obviously, with navies not really providing any assistance. I guess we never really grabbed Pisa. They managed to stay under the radar. I think they just joined the coalition and then got pieced out when I wiped pieced or paid them off. Let's take a little look at the cultural map mode and the religious map mode though. We can see Greek is still pretty dominant. Are there any? There's only a few Latin majority cultures, but Latin is quite a big culture. There's nearly 4 million Latin pops in the world. If we compare it to Greek, which has 5 million, it's just that they're more spread out and don't really have a majority in a lot of locations. We did manage to turn Constantinople nearly entirely Latin though. Latin is definitely the majority, and some of the locations around Constantinople are majority Latin as well. The Greeks are just passively converting into Latin, so it would only be a matter of time until they all get converted. Disappointing to see the lack of Latin spreading in Italy, though. It seems the Latin revival movement isn't really as good. I suppose the problem is, right, that it spreads best in urban locations with high control, literacy, development, and pop satisfaction. Though to be fair, when I look at places like Naples itself or Rome, I don't see any Latins around. So I think the Latin conversion system, maybe something's wrong with it because they don't seem to convert as well. If we compare it to the religious map mode, we can see Hellenic is quite big, large in charge. There's 17 million Hellenics. We can compare that to Catholic where there's 64 million, or Sunni where there's 82 million. It's definitely not up there, but surely it'd be a matter of time till it would be. Orthodox is still on 26 million, so it's likely Hellenic would surpass them first. There are more Lutherans, though. I'm surprised that they managed to get up to the 21 million, but I suppose maybe it's not that unsurprising. Within our nation, Hellenic is the rather undisputed majority at this point. All the other religions are very much reduced compared to it. Culture-wise, our Latin culture hasn't managed to become the majority, but it is third place, just behind Greek and, of course, Egyptian, which is, of course, nice to see. Has anything interesting culturally happened outside of our nation? I don't think so. Nothing's jumping out at me. I suppose we have a few locations that have been converted to French here in southern Greece, mainly because of the French nations here that are remnants of the Fourth Crusade, who I kept forgetting to integrate. So I think 2 of them are just bumping around as very small nations. But I said I kept forgetting to integrate them. Something else I was forgetting is these 4 Pronoia. They're all ruled by the same family, and this family keeps having a habit where they don't breed, or at least 2 generations of them. They get quite old, and then they have a son. This guy's quite old. He hasn't had any children. His wife is old. He has only 1 wife. He did have another. She was old as well. But if he follows in the footsteps of his father, he'll get old and then just have a son and die immediately and end up in a regency. I was really hoping this guy would, or this family would die off, because once this guy dies without a successor, we inherit all 4 of these nations. So I was really putting it off integrating them or trying to get a hold on them. just because I was like, oh, but if he just dies, we'll get it. You know how it goes, right? We do have a few nations still bumping around here that are monarchist Prenoia who've managed to survive, which again, I was just too lazy to really go off and integrate. The majority of our Prenoia now are republics, though. I definitely think Republican Prenoia are the way to go, because you can just release nations. Like, say if we annexed France, we could just release them as a Prenoia, they die, we inherit them back, and get all their cores. So it's definitely a really fast way to core territory. The thing is, though, when you release a Prenoia, they inherit your succession law. So unless you can get succession law as a monarchy that has elective, then you can't really achieve the same result. You might be able to if you go dynastic elective. I haven't tried it, but it's something to think about. If you go dynastic elective, that triggers elections on the ruler's death. So in that way, you might be able to achieve monarchist Prenoia that are inherited on the death of their ruler. As said, though, I haven't tried it. But with all that said, I think, as I said, we'll have to leave it here. I don't feel good about it, so feel free to call me names in the comments and voice your displeasure overall. As I said, though, next patch we'll do Trebizond. I have been playing around as Trebizond to see how fast you can become Byzantium, and you can actually conquer Byzantium pretty quickly. The problem is that in order to form Byzantium, you need to take lots of provinces, way more provinces than Byzantium actually controls. It's weird that Byzantium itself doesn't control enough provinces to form Byzantium. But either way, that's something for me to think about and deal with, obviously. I'm sad to say it, but we'll leave this campaign here. Maybe we'll end up doing a Republican Rome again in the future, maybe not playing as Byzantium. Maybe someone else will go off and become Rome. Alright, before we finish, let's spam out a bunch of cabinet ministers to see if we can get enough eunuchs. There's one. It's not looking good though. We're on 55 Republican tradition. Let's see if we can get more. Remember, we do need 6. Alright, I spent all my Republican tradition and we only got 3 eunuchs. So not enough, obviously. I suppose we could just invest all of our money in getting Republican tradition and just spam the button and hope we get enough. And that might be what I do before I put this campaign in the destroyed pile. But for now, I'll say thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy this campaign, though it's going to end on a rather lackluster point. I do wish I could continue, but that's really just me coping, which I've already done, so I'll stop boring you with that sort of sad, apologetic vocalizations and just say thank you for watching again, and I'll see you next time.